has like therapy and counseling changed in 40 years?
It's changed a lot. When I started, as an example, people would come in and maybe 5-10% of them were on medicine. And today it's probably 75%
Wow.
on medicine. We like to take them through a nice, slow process and get them to the point where they're in control of their lives. Now people are coming in and they've got a timeline in their minds. Will I be done in 3 or 4 months? It's that kind of thing. The world's going a million miles an hour, and there seems to be no brake pedal. No way to stop the train from moving forward. So, that's the challenge today for all of us. That are helping people, is to slow them down and get them honest with themselves. And, everybody wants to hear what they want to hear. So counseling doesn't always do that for you.
Right. Do you think, we're going to talk about slowing down here in a moment, but do you think that as far as like how counseling and therapy has become, that it's more accepted today than it was, 30 years ago?
There's no doubt about that. And with the advent of Zoom and things like that, a lot of people don't have to leave home. You don't have to worry about whether it's accepted or not anymore, because it's not like you park your car out on the street and people see you walk in the office and they say, oh my God, that person's getting counseling. Now, you can do it from your home. And plus, again, it is something that has become more accepted. I'm at a point now where, even where I thought I'm going to slow down. It's not going to happen. I could see 60 people a week and all in my office, and it just keeps on going. So that's a good thing. People are at least trying to work on themselves.
Yeah, I think as we continue to talk about mental health and have it being more mainstream, I think a lot of people look at therapy and counseling as more of a proactive thing these days, as opposed to a reactive. And even if it is reactive, that's okay too. But to be able to kind of prioritize it ahead of other things in your life, I think is a little bit more mainstream and accepted than maybe it was before. Do you think the same thing, or?
I always say that. I've been telling people that for decades.
Yeah.
If you get to me faster, we have less work to do.
Yeah.
And then you do get out of here faster. But if you waited till it seemed like the train was going to go off the track, and you can hear the crash right before it happens, we have work to do. And now you're at a crisis point, and there's a lot more of that collateral damage stuff that we have to deal with. So the faster you get to me, the better. And if there's people will come in and say, everybody should do this. We shouldn't even have problems. We should just come and openly talk about ourselves and kind of, keep gauging what's going on. So it's a great way to live if you're willing to invest the time.
Yes, I 100% agree. And I think the more that we can get that message out to the world, the better the world will be. I grew up in a situation where I have an awesome childhood, great upbringing. I am so thankful for all of that. And with an awesome childhood came some things that, looking back, they were not so great in the fact that they were fine at the time. But I think my perception of somebody who went to counseling was really bad, and talking about your feelings was way too vulnerable. I had an amazing family, but that was not part of my childhood. And I just commend people, especially parents today, who really kind of have those kind of conversations and say, hey, it's okay, for their children to talk about their feelings and prioritize mental health. So,
along those lines, most of the time, the problem is not as bad as you think it is. But, when they get in the office and I say, look, let's just tear it apart. Let's look at what's really there. Then they say, I could have dealt with this a little differently, but I spun it around in my head, made it 3 times as bad, and then there was no solution.
Yes.
And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I'm trying to tell people, you've got all this inside you already. You just stop using it, or you never learned how. And all
Right.
we're going to do, I mean, there's nothing revolutionary about what I'm teaching. It's already been there. It's been there forever. I'm kind of like just reopening the doors and say, here, this is what's inside you. Go get it. Once you do, you can deal with just about anything that comes along in your life.
Yeah, that's extremely powerful. What made you get into this?
Oh, it chose me when I was a kid.
Okay. And like you felt it or?
Yeah, I always say this in interviews. I was the kid that everyone came to and said, this happened and that happened. And I I probably, it was because I was the kid that, I kept eye contact and focused and listened and, asked some questions. And I didn't have any answers. I was, 12, whatever I was.
Yeah.